neck, it's like stretch strengtheners. So I hesitate to categorize things like hard and fast into one or the other, because sometimes they're kind of the same thing depending on who you are and what you got. So I'm going to open a blanket here. So I come to a little bit of a side lying position, and I'm just going to rest on my elbow. And if this just gets tedious, you're welcome to outstretch, but with where we're going, I would think like a little bit of height would be okay. So a little secret shoulder strengthener in here. So as you're here, just gonna make sure you're not too shrugged on that. And I'm gonna start on the right side, so my right side guidance. So you're not too shruggy on that right shoulder. And then from here, let's tip that right ear down towards the right shoulder. And would it be interesting if you took your left hand and dropped it off somewhere behind you, maybe just resting on your hip, reaching out, and maybe guiding that hand down. So I'm just on fingertips to the floor behind my hips. All right, so we have in this moment, maybe hand on side, maybe hand behind, and you're tilting your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then nice and slowly, can you tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder? And so my head is almost upright. And then from here, nice and slowly, right ear towards right shoulder. Okay, so that's probably where you'll elicit some stretch. That's what I would guess for most people. And then as you work here to lift left ear towards left shoulder, you might think of that as like your neck strengthener for the left side. Let's do a couple more and go particularly slowly. And if while you're doing this, your movement doesn't sync up exactly with mine, I think you know that that is totally fine. And the next time that you're letting that right ear come down towards the right shoulder, what about like even looking down now? So we were facing forward before, and then we're turning the head as though to look at the right forearm and hand. And would you replace that left hand anywhere behind you? Right, and then if the hand is somewhere behind you, you can call that back in, turn to look forward, and let's do this on the other side. So you can just flip your side lying over. And then from here, where do you want that hand to start? Just somewhere simple is good. And then we're gonna tip left ear towards left shoulder. You know, I had it in my head that the left side was tighter, but that's what goes to show you about creating labels for things that are temporary. Kind of feels like my right side's tighter today. And then you can figure out if you move your right arm around, does that add anything of interest to the position? And you don't have to commit to one thing. You can be experimental. And then we'll stay with this for another breath or two. Make sure here that I'm pushing that left elbow down so I'm not just leaning into my shoulder. That will definitely jam up the works here for the neck. All right, so you've got left ear towards left shoulder. Can you bring right ear towards right shoulder? And we'll go slowly through that a couple of times. So hopefully This does provide you with like a moment to really regard some stretching for the neck. Um, but that's kind of one-sided, right? Like if we had the world's best neck stretch, we'd be all set. It's always about mobility, right? So the strength to actually move a body part. So here, as you bring your right ear towards right shoulder, the left side has to be loose enough to let that happen, but the right side has to be strong enough to actually lift your heavy head. The next time that you're letting that left ear towards left shoulder, what would it feel like if you were to also look down? And then does this right arm do anything interesting to the pose? If you were to move it, replace it, try out a bunch of different things if you care to, or just hang on to something simplified. Right. If that arm has gone somewhere, call it back in, swivel to look forward, and then we'll come back up. And then just a little range of motion check in, kind of a nice end to this little sequence. We're going to look over the right shoulder, but don't bring your left shoulder forward. Think about squaring your shoulders and chest, and then swivel straight ahead. And of course, any casual sitting position is fine here. Looking over the left, and then back to center, and again over towards the right. And then tuck your chin towards your right collarbone. And then can you look towards the right? So you turned, one, you tucked, two, but then even more rotation. I think of it as like bringing the right jawline towards my right shoulder. It's like, what's that going on behind me? Could have sworn I saw something move. And then look straight down, and then look to the side as you lift your head, and then look forward. Let's do that on the other side. So first is just pure rotation. So you're looking over the left, then rotation plus flexion. You're looking down, say, towards your left leg. And then from this flexion forward, what about more rotation? So swinging that left jawline towards the left shoulder as though you're trying to look over that left shoulder. And then looking straight down at your lap, lifting your head so you're looking to the left of your space, and then facing forward. All right. I hope it feels good.